Well, we're continuing on making our buka fighter kite and adding pieces of tape to hold the spars in place. Now the tape I'm using is this reinforcing repair tape for ripstop. But another tape that's really good is just packing tape, or if you go to the hardware store or Home Depot, you can get this Tyvek tape. And this Tyvek tape is really very thin, extremely strong adhesive, and bonds well with just about everything. And I usually just cut a piece, if I'm going to use it, I just cut a piece off longer than I think I'll need, and then I just stick it to my edge of my work table and just cut a piece off as I go. So that's one way to deal with tape. Tape's kind of a nuisance sometimes, at least for me. So we'll continue putting the reinforcing tape, or the tape to kind of secure the spars in position, because when the kite's flying, if you don't put these pieces of tape on and you don't glue the spars to the skin, which is another alternative, contact cement works pretty well, but if you don't do that, then the skin is very floppy and vibrates a lot, slowing the kite down. So I like to secure them a little bit to minimize that kind of action when they're flying. Now the corners, the leading edge corners, I'm going to put a pretty good sized piece of tape right across the area that we didn't put any double stick tape on, and I'm going to get it nice and secure, and then I'm going to fold it over to the front side of the kite, so a small part of it will be showing on the front part of the kite. Now if you use clear tape, this wouldn't show, but this will show because it isn't clear. But this will give us a bit of strength at the corner, and this is a place where the kite is in need of some reinforcing. It gets quite a bit of abuse at the corners, because when these kites fly, or when they crash rather, they crash right on the leading edge or on the corners. So you need to protect those a little bit more. And the other thing we're going to do is put an additional piece of tape right in the center to help secure the spine to the skin and to the leading edge spar. And again, it's going to go about halfway on the back side of the kite, and try to get it around the spars as close as you can, and then fold it over to the front side of the kite. So it has so the kite now will have 3 pieces of tape exposed on the front side of the kite. And I'm going to put a couple pieces on the spine, keep it secure, and one of those pieces will be right near the center, because that's where I'm going to put my lower bridle connection point, and I like to have it reinforced. When flying a buka, they fly a little differently than a diamond-shaped fighter kite. They spin very differently, very, very interesting spin, and it makes the kite fun to fly. They track very straight and are terrific flying kites. When they crash, however, it's very, very difficult and rare, really, to be able to relaunch them without walking out and picking it up and relaunching it that way. So now we have the kite completed, except for two things: the bridle and the tension line. We're going to first attach the tension line, and the way we do it, pretty simple. I use a battery operated soldering iron, but any soldering iron would work, and I guess we'll measure this just to make sure it's fairly close. You measure from one edge in towards the center of the kite 1/2 inch and make a mark. And you do the same on the other side. And this is where we're going to put a hole right through the tape and through the skin. And this is the attachment point for the tension line. Now when you're making the hole, be careful not to put the soldering iron directly against the carbon fiber. Now, the carbon fiber, when it's touched with high temperatures, often will cause a point of failure and bend or break right at that point. So just keep that in mind. So now we have two holes in the leading edge, and we're going to take a piece of line. I use about 20 or 30 pound braided Dacron, but you can use any relatively strong line that you want for a tension line. And I take a piece about 8 inches long, fold it in half, tie a knot to make a loop. And this loop's roughly 3 inches or so when it's finished. Then I take a longer piece, maybe 30 inches, and I make a lark's head knot to attach this loop to the main line. Now, I do it so that the knot of the loop is not at one end, but in the center of this little loop. And to make a lark's head, you put the loop under the line, then push one end of the loop through the other side of the loop and pull it. And that would be a lark's head knot. But we're going to do this one more time. We're going to loop it through one more time. So it's going around the bridle line one more time, and then we're going to secure the bridle line at both ends, hold it, and that knot sometimes will get snagged, so you got to work it through, and then pull it tight. The knot we have here is called a prusik knot, and it's just a double lark's head knot. It's a movable, adjustable, locking knot. Now what we do is we feed this loop through one of these holes. It can be either one, doesn't really matter. Just feed the whole thing through, and in the loop you take the rest of the line, put it through. We want to make a lark's head knot here, so we're bringing all the line, everything through the loop, and then we're going to pull it secure to the back side of the kite. Now the other side, we take one of the ends, the long end of the longer piece of line here, and we run it through this hole and attach it to this hole using any knot that works good for you.